Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm talking about how you can make a more objective, considered decision about your next set of irons. If you're considering splashing the cash and getting yourself a new set of irons this season or next, obviously it's quite a difficult decision to make, and what you really want to be doing is going into it a little bit more maybe objectively than you have done in the past. Don't forget that this set of clubs has probably got to last you the next 3-5 years if you're lucky, and so you want a golf club which is going to help your game and not hurt it. So really it's all about knowing what it is you want from a golf club and what the golf club has got to do in order to be able to give you that. So the very first thing is probably to take your own golf club, hit a few shots with it, and actually see what kind of results you're getting. What is it you want from your new golf club that you can't get from your old golf club? For instance, do you want a golf ball that's going further? Now I think we probably all want that, at least the hobby golfer wants that. And I can give you some good news there, because the manufacturers have really made giant leaps, especially as far as irons are concerned and the distance you can hit the golf ball with them. So if you haven't bought a set of irons for the last 5 years, then you're most certainly going to get an increase in distance irrespective of the manufacturer that you actually go to. But probably distance isn't the only need. You're also worried about the dispersion. The ball's going right, the ball's going left, you're topping it, you're hitting it fat. And you want a golf club which is going to maybe forgive these mistakes and help you out a little bit when you're not playing as well. So how do you really go about it? Well, I would say the first thing you want to do is, like I said, hit a few balls with your own club. And then have a look at the dispersion, not the dispersion of the golf ball on the golf course, but the dispersion of the golf ball on the face. Now that will mean either putting a little bit of face tape on the face. Some people actually use a bit of kind of chalk on the face, and that way you can actually see where the ball is impacted. If you've got loads of money to burn, then you can buy yourself a TrackMan or a launch monitor, and that will tell you, or even book a fitting. And the idea is to see where more or less you're hitting on the face, and where you're hitting on the face is where you need the weight in the club. And that's why the forgiving golf clubs are what they call perimeter weighted. They have weight over the entire club head, which actually helps with the ball speed if you don't hit it in the center of the golf club. If you're hitting the ball in the center of the golf club, then obviously that's the ball that's going to go the furthest. If you're not, however, you need a club which is still giving you a little bit of ball speed, and that's where forgiveness starts. And you can actually see here that the length of the club is actually different. I've got two very different golf clubs here, the new Big Bertha B21 from Callaway and the Apex Pro. And the first thing that's very obvious is the length of the club. A bit like a tennis club, if you have a larger racket, it's going to be easier to hit the golf ball, and it's no different with a golf club. So if you are tending to spray the ball all over the club face, a larger club face is going to help. In order to get the weight over the entire club face, you're going to see a thing they call perimeter weighting, which has been around for years, but is getting better and better as the quality of the materials that they are using and the type of materials that they are using are changing. There's tungsten weights now in the club head to move the weight down and maybe back away from the ball. And that's what you'll actually see with these two golf clubs here. The blade, a very thin sole, a very thin top edge. And because of that, the weighting is more or less in the center, or even a little bit in the heel of the club, and that's where you're going to get the best energy transfer. If you hit it out of the center, you're going to lose up to 20% of the ball speed immediately. If you go to the Big Bertha and you hit it out of the center, you can see here a wide sole, a pretty wide top line, and this transferring of the weight in the club head means that even if you hit it out of the center, you're not going to get as much loss of distance as you would do. Also, this extra depth in both the top edge and the sole of the club is moving the center of gravity back behind the golf ball and away from the face. And that means that the club head doesn't twist and turn as much in off-center hits as its competition here in the blade. So you're almost certainly, if you are hitting all over the club face, going to be helped by a club with more perimeter weighting, with a golf club which is actually putting weight there where you're hitting it. And the Callaway clubs are now coming with specially engineered faces, which is actually changing the thickness of the face and putting more thickness there where you hit the ball. So they're getting far more fitted to your swing, and which is one of the reasons you really want to talk to a fitter when you're making buying decisions, to find out what kind of swing you have and which club would probably benefit your game the most. But before you get to the fitter, you can do an awful lot or make an awful lot of decisions yourself simply by experimenting with different club types. The next thing you want to really look is kind of your ball flight. Are you hitting it too high? Or, as we know with a lot of beginners, are you hitting it too low? Are you tending to top the ball a lot? Topping the ball basically means that you are hitting it either on or above the equator, but it doesn't really mean that the leading edge is on or above the equator, but the center of gravity. The center of gravity is not at the bottom of the golf club. It's somewhere around about the third or fourth groove, depending on the type of golf club you have. And if you've got to get this center of gravity below the axis of the golf ball to get the golf ball up into the air. So if you have a tendency to hit the golf ball really in the up and top it a lot, then you're probably better off with a very low center of gravity. And generally you'll see it like the Big Bertha, a wider sole, more weighting in the back, and with some of the more expensive golf clubs as well, they will have tungsten inserts and all kind of weighting, which is actually getting this center of gravity down. So even if you are topping the golf ball a little bit, you're going to be helped by that. Once you actually have got that kind of height of flight, that launch that you're actually looking for, the next thing is to think about the direction that you're hitting the golf ball. Are you tending to slice the golf ball, or are you tending to hook the golf ball? Because the golf club can help you there as well. If you look at the golf clubs, you will actually see what we can call an offset on the golf club, which basically means when I look down at the golf club, that the face of the golf club is set back from the shaft. And by setting it back from the shaft, they're simply giving you a little bit more time to square the face. So if the face is square or slightly close to the path, then you're going to get the golf ball going to the left, and that will help a slicer. If you're hooking the golf ball, you want to have the face more in line with the shaft, so less offset, and that won't give you as much time to twist the club, and therefore you will reduce your hook. So you can say that basically an offset golf club will reduce a slice, and a less offset golf club will reduce a hook. So now we're really kind of getting to a point where we've got a good idea of what kind of club we should be using to help with the problems that we are actually experiencing with the club that we have at the moment. Maybe the last point to actually look at is the golf courses that you are playing. If you are playing on a seaside links where you've got a very hard turf and maybe not a lot of grass on it, then sometimes a wide-soled golf club is actually going to hurt you more than it will help you, because of the width of the sole and the bounce on the golf club, the rounding of the sole. It won't be a certain thing that the ball will actually collide with the ground before the ball bounce up and you'll be topping the shots. However, if you need to have a golf club which can have all the benefits of a wide-soled golf club, then you're probably going to have to put out a little bit more money. Callaway have a golf club they call the Epic Forged, which has got a thinner sole, but still has this weighting. And unfortunately, that's what you pay for. So if you are in a situation where you're playing links golf, but you need a lot of help because you tend to top the ball or you don't get the golf ball up into the air, then that's the kind of golf club you want to be looking for. On the other hand, if you are playing on a soft turf golf course, a parkland course with a lot of grass on it, then a wider sole can actually help you, because the wider sole will actually stop the club digging into the turf and you're getting more fat shots when you're hitting the ball. Fat shots, as long as we're on that thing, that's the same reason for a wide sole there. If you know that you come down like you're killing snakes, then it might well be a good idea to get a wider sole on your golf club, because that will actually help the golf club to stay above ground through impact and not dig in too much. If you're playing with a very small soled golf club, then you've got to be striking the golf ball well. If you haven't got your hands in front of the ball at impact, then you're going to notice every turf interaction, because it's going to stop the golf club and take an awful lot of the power out of the shot. So can we summarize that? Yes. If you're hitting the golf ball low or topping it, you need a low center of gravity. You need the weight at the bottom of the club. If you're hitting it all over the face, you need a bigger club face, and you need a longer club face, and you need as much forgiveness as possible. That means getting the weight back away from the club face, similarly to the Big Bertha here. However, if you're looking for a lower, more penetrating flight, then you want to be looking more towards a bladed golf club, because the bladed golf clubs have got a higher center of gravity, which is going to stop it going up too high. Last thing maybe you can look at is the spin. The new series of golf clubs which are coming out, a lot of them have now faces which are actually got a bit of trampoline effect, and what tends to happen then is the ball launches higher. That's got to be good, because it's going to help the ball go further. However, what actually happens is that the manufacturers then take loft off the golf club. So it doesn't go quite as high, but you get more distance. And that comes with pluses and minuses, because it affects the spin. Yep, the final thing you want to be looking at is the spin that you're getting off the iron. And is it the spin that you need? Again, if you are a beginner or a hobby golfer who's just looking for distance, then spin or less spin is not a bad thing. If you've got less spin, you've got less lift. When a golf ball spins around its axis, it creates lift, and that helps the golf ball to fly. But if the axis is tilted because you actually have hit it out to in or in to out, then this spin will actually cause it to fly out of the direction that you're wanting to play it in. So less spin means less dispersion and more roll. If, however, you want the golf ball to stop on the green, you need a higher flight so that it lands steeper. You need more spin to stop the golf ball when it lands, and that means you'll be better off going more towards a bladed golf club, which is going to have a higher spin rate and is going to actually, hopefully, give you more control over the ball flight. But obviously you've got to be able to manage your golf swing in such a way as you're delivering the club face on the ball, so the ball's in the center of the club face. You're getting enough club head speed to give it spin and get it up into the air without the help of the golf club. And these are the kind of things that you've got to be thinking about. I think that's quite a lot for you to digest in one thing, in one lesson. Maybe the best thing then is to get out on a golf course, decide which heads you get and test them out. The majority of good pro shops will actually allow you to borrow clubs either on the range or on the course. You can try them out against your existing golf clubs and see if you're getting a benefit. And after you've done that, then you really want to be booking a fitting appointment where the fitter will decide on the best length, lie, loft of the golf club, grip thickness, and the shaft type. Now, we haven't really talked about shaft at all here because this isn't really a fitting video. You will actually see that all of the top manufacturers are offering both their own and aftermarket shafts to actually introduce into these golf clubs. It's always a balance, but it's the shaft which is helping you to get the head onto the golf ball, but it is the club head which is really doing the work once you've actually done that. So understanding better what the club head does is obviously going to help you to make a better decision about your next set of golf clubs. Hope this helps you. If it does, hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed to me yet, please do so. I'll be back very shortly with the next video. Keep safe, keep well. See you soon.